We're going to go back to Brian now for a weather update.
Yeah, we've just had our first tornado warning issued for a county in the Heartland. Let me see if I pop up here. I'm on Max 1, of course, and this is for a bunch of cells coming in from the southwest. If we can pop me up, maybe. There we go. And so we've been tracking all of this stuff for the last several hours. This system has a history of causing damage, large hail, and confirmed tornadoes over southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. But let's get right to that warning, which is for the southwestern corner of Ripley County, although the cell right now is just to the west of Ripley County. But I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on it. And of course, as long as there's a tornado warning, we will stay on the air with you to keep you safe and track the system. And this is I can tell by the color, remember red now is a tornado warning that is radar confirmed. So this is a radar indicated tornado, no ground truth with it. But let's go ahead and zoom in here and we can maybe see where the circulation is. We've been tracking a couple of rotating storms across northern Arkansas. These are now beginning to trend just a little bit north of due east. But let me do the wind here and see if we can, yeah, there's the circulation, right? So this is coming off of the radar in Memphis. I can tell that. It's kind of in that radar hole where it's between Springfield, it's between Paducah, and it's between Memphis. So it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. But we're still seeing a circulation there with the red and green pretty close together. So from Memphis, that means the red is moving away from the radar. The green means it's moving toward the radar. But you can see that this is almost directly over the state line there, the Missouri-Arkansas state line. And it's, according to the national, well, it has just, the latest scan now, it's just to the north of the state line, very rural area out there. But this is moving to the east-northeast. And so here's Donovan, here's Ripley County, and the tornado warning, as we just saw, is for, in fact, let me do something else here. Let me do a scope, and we can hide part of that, of all this stuff. Give you a better look at the warnings, I think. Let's see if that's going to pop for me. There we go. That's actually a little better view, right? So that's where the circulation is over just this, right on the state line there between Missouri and Arkansas. And this is Oregon County, Missouri, if you're familiar with the area. It's a beautiful area out there, by the way. Mark Twain National Forest land. Moving to the northeast, there's 160, which runs right through the middle of Ripley County. So the warning now, the tornado warning, and we'll stay on the air as long as there's a tornado warning in effect. By the way, Megan, when does the, you said 6:45, I think, right?
Sir.
So that's about a half an hour from now. Or if it's canceled before that. But the tornado warning for the southwestern part of Ripley County until 6:45. And let's go back a little bit, and I'm just going to pop reflectivity back on here and maybe do a little, there's the warning. So you can see that warning, also a warning for northern Arkansas. And it escapes me what county that is. I think maybe that's Greene County, Arkansas. And this is Oregon County, Missouri. So that tornado warning for this cell is for 2 or 3 different counties. But let's do a cell track and kind of give you a heads up for people downstream from this storm as it moves to the east at about, I think, 40 miles an hour we had it. So the next hour, east-northeast, does include Pointer and Donovan, Burr, Donovan, Flatwoods, picks up every town, Neelyville, if it continues east into Butler County. So again, this is a radar indicated tornado, a tornado warning for southwestern Ripley County, although at this point the circulation is over the southeastern part of Oregon County, just north of the Arkansas state line, moving to the east. And Megan's here with me, so if we do get any ground confirmation or any word from the Weather Service on any reports. Here's the problem, though. We know this from experience. This is a very rural area, so it's unlikely we'll have any reports. Now, sometimes it'll happen. We'll get a report from the public or from law enforcement or spotters, but that may not happen this morning on a Sunday morning out in a very rural area of the Missouri-Arkansas Ozarks area. So let's go back. We know that. We've got the tornado warning now for Ripley County. Let's see what else is going on. These cells have actually weakened quite a bit moving northeast, but we still have severe thunderstorm warnings for the eastern part of Reynolds County, Missouri, and for Iron County. And yeah, we've had others. These cells are actually getting a little stronger now too, moving northeast through southeast Missouri, down toward extreme, Fulton County, Kentucky. And it looks like they may be producing at least some pea-sized hail, but those are not severe right now. But yeah, you can see where the strongest cells are out here, moving right along the Arkansas-Missouri state line. So, you know, we were talking about this before we went on the air. This is a notorious radar hole, this area between Springfield and Paducah and Little Rock and Memphis. And for years, we've been kind of hoping, suggesting that maybe the National Weather Service would put a new radar in that area. So far, it hasn't happened, but yeah, we're still seeing the cells pretty well here, I have to say, this morning as they move to the east. But what happens sometimes is it looks like the storm is weakening or the circulation is weakening. It's not necessarily weakening, it's just getting farther from the radar site. And so earlier this morning, about 2 a.m., we were watching and out towards Springfield. They were picking up those storms, and you could see just obvious, dramatic circulation, rotation couplets and so forth. And they would put out confirmed tornado, we can tell because of the debris and so forth. But once these storms get out in the middle of nowhere like that, can't really see the debris so much, right? Because it's at the lower levels. So that becomes an issue for us. So maybe at some point when I'm long gone, we'll have a new National Weather Service radar somewhere out in the middle of the Ozarks. But so far, yeah, we'll have to rely on what we have. And it does indicate that there may be a tornado with this cell now moving along the Missouri-Arkansas state line. So anything new coming in? No? I'm assuming that Megan will speak up if she does see anything new.
No, we're, like you said, we're just continuing to track the system. I mean, there are reports of pretty good sized hail, almost about 1.5 inches. We're seeing, like you said, right there on that state line that's being produced. But I think too, they said down in Thayer and in Thayer, they were confirming about 1 inch of hail. So, like you said, that system's moving pretty strong through there and producing some strong winds and some large hail as it makes its way towards Donovan, that system should be hitting around 6:30 there in Donovan. So.
Yeah, it may go just south, but it's going to be awfully close. And again, if you look at the radar, it's kind of weakening a little bit, although this storm south is looking like it has a pretty significant circulation as well. Yeah, so here's the one that has the warning that we're watching. And down south here is kind of a large, loose circulation, but that storm is obviously rotating as well. But here's where, if there's a tornado, it's going to be right around in here, just in the southeastern corner of Oregon County, and it's moving to the east or just north of east. We'll say northeast, just to make it easy, into southwestern Ripley County. So let me do that scope thing again. That actually worked pretty well, right? So scopes are hard to do if you're on the air because they're kind of tricky. You can't really see what you're doing. There we go. And yeah, that actually has a pretty tight circulation. So my experience over the years with this system is that when you see a circulation that's that tight, there's probably a tornado on the ground. So we'll go ahead and say if you live in the southwestern part of Ripley County, you should be in your safe spot as this moves to the east or northeast at about 30 or 40 miles an hour. And again, I think the tornado warning does include Donovan. At least it's very close to Donovan as this moves to the northeast. So the circulation right now, we may have a new scan here anytime, looks like it's about to move into Ripley County. Ripley County is kind of cool because it's way out there and it's in the corner, the southwestern, very southwestern corner of our viewing area. So unfortunately, Ripley County gets to be the guinea pig sometimes, right? As these storms come in from the west, Ripley County, Carter County, a lot of warnings, and you guys are sometimes the first folks to experience the severe weather. Now, we've already had a couple of warnings. One was for Carter County, severe thunderstorm warning, and one was for Reynolds County. But this is for Ripley County, and this is the first tornado warning that we've had. And again, we have had confirmed tornadoes overnight and early this morning in southwest Missouri and northern Arkansas. And so this cell in particular has a history of dropping tornadoes. And again, just judging by what I'm seeing there, pretty tight, colorful, strong circulation, and a long way from the radar too. looks like it's coming off the Memphis radar. Yeah, there's probably a tornado on the ground there. So again, and again, as I mentioned, this is a very rural area, so we may not get any kind of confirmation at all, ground truth or any spotter activity with this. But just judging by the radar, it looks like there probably is a tornado on the ground. So again, if you're just tuning in, let's go ahead and I want to pop the reflectivity back up here. There's a tornado warning now for Oregon County, but for our purposes, and it does include Doniphan there, the southwestern part of Ripley County, Missouri, as that storm heads to the east-northeast. And there's another cell just south of there in northern Arkansas that's tracking a little to the south of our viewing area. So we'll have to keep watching that in case it eventually moves toward Clay County, Arkansas, and the Boot Heel of Missouri. But you can see that they've taken down that tornado warning for Oregon County. Now, it looks like they have replaced it with a severe thunderstorm warning, but a tornado warning continues in effect for Ripley County. And as long as there's a tornado warning, even if it's just radar indicated, we will stay on the air with you to keep you safe and track it. If the warning does expire, we can toss it back to the news. But for now, we will stay on the air. Let's go out to a larger view as we wait any kind of updates here. See if anything else looks suspicious right now. Oh, we got a brand new, I'm glad I did that, brand new severe thunderstorm warning, right, for a couple of counties for us. So let me do a complete reset to the radar here, and then we'll talk about that. So reflectivity, click on it. I like to talk myself through it, so you get to experience that with me. We were talking this morning about how we all have slightly different styles when we do severe weather, but I kind of like to talk about what I'm doing. It kind of helps me a little bit. I guess that would be a bad habit if you did that with everything you did in life, but I like to do it with severe weather. So it looks like that brand new warning is for, what, Madison County, and is that St. Francis County? So Madison County in our viewing area. Do you have any details on that severe thunderstorm warning, Megan, for us?
Yes, we are seeing about 60 miles per hour wind gusts. Now, this is obviously radar indicated. We are going to see this in effect till 7:15 this morning.
Okay, it's probably this cell moving northeast into
towards
Madison
County and St. Yep.
And it does include Fredericktown, of course, largest town in the county, although there's Marquand, which is a cool little town in southeastern Madison County. So yeah, this is a severe thunderstorm warning based on history, I suspect. It really doesn't look that bad right now. Let me see if there's any wind showing up. This would be from the St. Louis radar. And yeah, it doesn't look that bad there. So a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe based on the history of this cell for the northwestern half of Madison County, and then also on up into, in fact, let me pan this a little bit. There I go again. I kind of do it like sports guys, right? Kind of talking about what's going on. So yeah, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for St. Francis County, including the Farmington area, and that's for this cell moving northeast out of Iron County. So winds of up to 60 miles an hour, 1-inch hail with that. So let's go ahead and see if there's any update on the tornado warning. Oh, by the way, we were talking about this earlier. Whenever you see the black lines through the warning, that means tornado possible. And since we do have a tornado watch in effect, that severe thunderstorm warning has a tornado possible tagline because of the tornado watch and the history already overnight of some confirmed tornadoes. So we still have that tornado warning. In fact, a bunch of tornado warnings right now, radar indicated for this cell. These cells, they look like they're kind of merging together now, moving right along there's a new severe thunderstorm warning now issued for Clay County. That's interesting because that means Memphis is like, well, maybe some circulation, maybe not. We're just going to put out a severe thunderstorm warning for now. Kind of watch these things to try to figure out what the different weather services are thinking. Remember, right here, we're talking St. Louis Weather Service, Paducah, and Springfield, and Little Rock, and Memphis, all coming together in this area. It's kind of an unusual area here. But let's go ahead and zoom back in and see if we can still see that circulation, and if it's any stronger, any weaker, if it's still there. And Megan, I'm sure will chime in if anything, because I'd kind of like to see us do a little bit of, Madison's over there waiting patiently to see if we actually have a newscast this morning. So the reflectivity-wise, it looks a little weaker, but let me see if the wind, no, it's still showing that circulation. So yeah, let me do the scope thing again, because it seems to look.
So.
Come on, scope. There we go. Because it seems to show up a little bit better with this system.
Now this, the National Weather Service did send out an updated with that tornado warning. So they saw that the chance of a tornado being developed, located over Gatewood. And now that's about 15 miles west of Donovan, and now but it's continuing to move east at 40 miles per hour.
Yeah,
so
it's somewhere right in there. So it's southwest of Donovan, over the southwestern part of Ripley County. In fact, you know what I can do is go back to reflectivity and maybe zoom in a little closer, right? Just maybe in Gatewood would show up. It's one of those things where, according to our software, the closer you get, the smaller the towns that show up, if that makes sense. So let me stop. There we go. So let me do the wind and see where that circulation is. I still don't see Gatewood, though, on here. So maybe it's just too small a town to show up on our system. But it looks like, yeah, that circulation must be very close to 142. I've almost gotten too close.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Gatewood. Yeah, there you go.
See?
Ask and you shall receive. There you go. So, yeah, Gatewood, way out in the southwestern. This is a beautiful area, by the way. I shouldn't digress into a nature show, but if you ever drive, if you're from like Illinois or Kentucky and you drive west, you get out into Ripley County, Carter County, Reynolds County. It's like, are we really in the Midwest? It looks almost like Colorado sometimes. So let me get back on message here. So let's do that shear thing. Maybe open it up a little bit. It's a little too small. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like just east, it's pretty close to Gatewood, just east of Gatewood, maybe now on 142, moving to the northeast. And a pretty tight circulation, maybe loosened a little bit, but that's why we have the tornado warning, and that's why we're on the air, right? So whenever there's a tornado warning, even if it is just radar indicated, we will stay with you and help to keep you safe and track it. And again, if I'm in Donovan, I'm thinking about heading to my safe spot pretty soon, because this does look to be tracking right along 142 toward the Donovan area. And 160, I guess this is 160 just north of, I've taken 160, I've never taken 142 between Gatewood and Donovan, but a beautiful area out there. Current River's out there too, by the way, so a lot of folks are familiar with that, even if they're not from that area. You got something new? No?
We're just seeing some, like you just said about Donovan, how that system's pushing through. We are seeing on radar some pretty good sized hail, about an inch.
And about an inch hail? Okay, yeah. And that's about a quarter size. We were talking earlier also about all the different size hail reports we've had this morning, and trying to correspond those with like sports.
Sports symbols.
Yeah, so quarter, it kind of goes back and forth between coins and sports, but we had some golf ball and some baseball-sized hail earlier in southwest Missouri, so we were throwing that around, and occasionally, of course, they throw in a fruit size, like grapefruit if it gets big enough, but anyway, I digress. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that one storm again, since that's why we're on the air, that tornado warning for Ripley County, including Donovan, and let me stop the rotation here, and stop the movement, and zoom in. The cell does look to be morphing now into like a single system, moving right along the Missouri-Arkansas state line. I'm going to move this back a little bit. About right in there. There we go. I like to give myself enough. I've learned this in the past too. If you zoom in too close and then you try to do a track, you're too close and the track goes off the screen. So let's go ahead and first of all do my scope, see if we can still see that circulation, which has been pretty, even for being that far away from the radar, it has been pretty significant. Yep, it's still there, just southwest of Donovan, and that's 160, so it's moving east or northeast, getting awfully close to Donovan. So again, if you're in Donovan, get to your safe spot. This is probably, just judging by the radar, there, even though it's just radar indicated at this point, according to the Weather Service, there probably is a tornado on the ground with that.
We just got a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Bollinger County.
Okay.
So now that will remain in effect till 7 this morning. That's moving at 50 miles per hour east, and we are seeing some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and this is radar indicated, especially very strong winds as the system moves through.
Yeah, so this, I may have to, let me just go ahead and see if I can just go back to reflectivity and see where, oh, I see that warning. So we're seeing the southern edge of that warning. Looks like it's for a couple of counties. Let me go ahead and go back to a radar loop here. Okay, yeah, there we go. So again, and it's like the other one with the black lines through it, meaning tornado possible. So a severe thunderstorm warning now for what, Bollinger?
Yes.
And it looks like it also includes
southeastern Carter, northeastern Ripley, and then Wayne County.
Wayne County, there you go. And northwestern Stoddard County and northern
Butler
County.
Yeah.
Man, it covers a bunch of counties. Southeastern Carter and northern Ripley. So it's interesting that they put out a severe thunderstorm warning. I guess it's for the northern part of the system. It's kind of morphing now into a big like MCS kind of complex moving to the east or northeast. So there could be, when that happens, very often you start to get fewer tornadoes and less hail, but more wind. So this could become a damaging wind event as it moves to the northeast. Looks like we're about to get some strong cells here, so we'll likely hear some lightning, hear the rain on the roof here pretty quickly. But again, we still, at least for now, have that tornado warning for Ripley County in the southwestern part of a viewing area, and also for some counties in northern Arkansas as well. Those are moving east toward the boot heel, so if that holds together, if you live in Dunklin County, Missouri, or Pemiscot County, or even New Madrid County, you should be kind of watching as well right now. So yeah, if you get anything new, let me know. Otherwise, I'll zoom back into the...
Well, like you were just talking about that system in Ripley County, so they are seeing the strongest circulation right there in Ripley County, just east of Gatewood is what they're reporting.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's moving towards Donovan, and it should be in Donovan within the next 10 minutes. So make sure that you are taking shelter and that you're being prepared and aware.
There we go. So, there we go. So, very close to Donovan. Needs to do the wind thing, the velocity. Yeah, it looks like it's right in here, but I'm going to go back to my scope since that seems to be working pretty well right now. And again, that's impressive because very often we do these, we try to track storms way out in the Ozarks, and it's so far away from the radar that you really can't see any detail. But this one, you can actually see the circulation pretty well. So, and it's holding together. So yeah, Donovan, looks like it may be getting a little more disorganized, but there's still something, yeah, right in here. Maybe it's getting a little looser. This is the Memphis radar. I think we're picking this up off of Memphis. So red is away, blue and green is toward, and it's awfully close to Donovan. So yeah, just along 160 or between 142 and 160. Let me see if there's any debris. Nah, not seeing any debris. That's a good sign. Although it's a long way from the radar, you might not see debris. But back to the shear. And yeah, there's a circulation there still for sure. And again, as I said earlier, even if it's just a radar indicated, our experience over the last several years has been when we have a tight circulation like that, sooner or later, you'll get a report of a significant wind damage or a wind damage path. Or the Weather Service will go out and finally get out to Ripley County and say, oh yeah, by the way, there was a tornado on the ground. Just it was over a rural area, so nobody reported it while it was on the ground. But that's what we got right now. A tornado warning continues for Donovan. Well, it's getting awfully close to Donovan. So again, Donovan, take this seriously, get in your safe spot. There may be a tornado about to move into Donovan. And if it does, we should get some reports, obviously. But that's what we have right now, a tornado warning in effect for Donovan, Missouri, and for the southwestern part of Ripley County. Let's go back and just do reflectivity. Let me reset this.
Think about quarter-sized hail.
And maybe quarter-sized hail.
With that system as it's hitting near Donovan right now.
Yeah, it still looks like this whole system's kind of morphing into maybe an MCS or just a squall line. moving east. But obviously, there is still some circulation right around the Donovan area. It'd be interesting to see if they reissue that warning. Probably will for the eastern part of Ripley County as well. But that's what we have right now. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings in the orange for parts of St. Francis, Iron, Madison counties, including Fredericktown, if I remember, Bollinger County, northwestern Stoddard County, southeastern Wayne County, most of Wayne County, part of Butler County, including maybe Poplar Bluff. Poplar Bluff looks like you're in that warning too, but even southern Butler County is going to get hit as this line moves in. So we'll go ahead and unofficially say if you live in Butler County, you're under kind of a warning in a way. But yeah, let's, and again, 6:45 is the official, well, that's not for another 15 minutes. So we've got a long way to go in terms of the official warning. I suspect we'll have new warnings issued.
They're still keeping it at 6:45. It was just issued about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Saying that they're seeing the damaging winds, tornado, producing about quarter-sized hail, and it's right, almost like you said, Brian, right there near Donovan.
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in for the breakfast show, hopefully we can get back to that before the end of the show, but we had to kind of interrupt because of a tornado warning, and our policy is whenever there's a tornado warning, even if it's just a radar-indicated tornado warning, we stay on the air to keep you safe. And this cell, by the way, is very close to Donovan right now. So if you live in Donovan, yeah, be in your safe spots because this cell does, even though it looks weaker now, does have a history of producing a tornado all across northwest Arkansas earlier and very large hail too. So let's do that scope thing again, which has been working very well. There we go. Yeah, that circulation obviously is very close to Donovan. Maybe widen this out just a little bit. There we go. Although it looks like almost it's kind of a little more disorganized now.
Yeah, they just sent out a new report saying that the circulation isn't as quite as tight as it was earlier, but it might wrap up again. So I think they're going to hold that issue until the 6:45.
Okay, so yeah, that's what they're saying too. Same thing. It's kind of like a large, messy circulation now, but there may still be a rotating storm out there. And so, yeah, the tornado warning continues for Ripley County, including the Donovan area right now. Let's go ahead and just stay with it, I guess, and see if we get a new scan here. And last time I hit debris, we didn't see anything. Yeah, nothing there, so that's good news. If you saw debris this far away from the radar site, that would be a very bad thing, but we're not seeing that. So again, yeah, it's kind of a broad circulation, so this is moving away, this is moving toward, and we're picking this up from the Memphis radar right now, I believe. But so the storm is looking like it still is rotating in a general sense, but just not the tight circulation. And I'm not sure now if there was a tornado, it'd be right over Donovan or maybe right here. Both of those little small, probably pretty close to Donovan because that's where the strongest circulation looks to be. But again, as Megan said, even the Weather Service saying that the circulation is not quite as strong as it was a little while ago. Anything new? I'm going to go back to a larger view to see what else is going on because we don't want to ignore all the severe thunderstorm warnings either. So yeah, this little line here is getting stronger and stronger as it moves northeast now into western Kentucky and toward the Mississippi River. And but obviously this is where the strongest cells are right now, moving right along the Missouri-Arkansas line, moving to the east. And so severe thunderstorm warnings for a bunch of counties in southeast Missouri, even where you don't have an official warning. We just had a brand new tornado warning issued, right? So they're going to stay with it, which means we'll have to stay with it. But it's for southeastern Ripley County and much of Butler County. Is there any kind of, when you get a chance, maybe you can talk about what they're thinking, what they're saying from the National Weather Service. Yeah. Maybe check
like you said,
chat.
Butler, Ripley, and Stoddard.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So yeah, we were kind of wondering, okay, they had to make a decision to update the warning downstream. Would they downgrade it to just a severe thunderstorm warning, or would they stay with a tornado warning? Looks like they're staying with a tornado warning for now, right?
Yep. let's see, I think.
You can probably go ahead and read it.
So it says that circulation has tightened again, so they decided to issue a new tornado warning.
Okay.
It says circulation is tightening right near Donovan at this time.
Okay, so, yeah, there you go. So we'll zoom back in, and now we've got, yeah, look at all the warnings now for northeast Arkansas as well. So, and it looks like a brand-new tornado warning for this cell.
It's moving east at 70 miles per hour.
Oh, the cell in the Donovan area?
Yes.
Okay. I can hear rain on our roof now here downtown, so the rain must be pretty heavy. So there's Donovan. Let me pan this back a little bit.
So that's been extended till 7 a.m. Like you said, once again, for southeastern Ripley County, Butler County, and southwestern Stoddard County until 7 with the quarter-sized hail and that tornado possible for radar indicated. So
let me go back here. I want to center this a little better. Sometimes this hand tracking is very, very sensitive. Okay, now let's do the scope. You have to kind of do it slowly and deliberately, otherwise it doesn't work very well. Well, I can tell already we're on a different radar. I wonder if we're picking it up from Paducah's radar
I think
now.
that, yeah, that's Paducah.
So, if it's Paducah, I'm not sure where the circulation is then. They said somewhere around Donovan then, right?
They said, here, I'll pull it up again.
We're not seeing any debris. At least we weren't. Well, we got something west of there. Hopefully that's, I'm not sure that's actual debris because it doesn't line up really with the circulation. But
we are getting some reports of flash flooding in Van Buren and then north of Highway D
that's the
in
problem.
Carter County.
Okay, some flash flooding. So that's why it's under that, the dreaded purple haze zone at the edge of Paducah's area. Let me try something. I think it was actually looking better when we were on Memphis's radar. So I'm going to try to do this. There we go. That works, right? You learn this after a while. Since it's in no man's land between St. Louis and Memphis and Paducah and Little Rock and Springfield, just a few miles on where you're tracking can make a big difference. So let me do that scope again, hopefully off Memphis's radar, and maybe it'll look a little bit better. Yeah, so still kind of a broad circulation east of, I would say, pretty broad east of Donovan on 160. So you got this going away, this going towards. So if there is a tornado on the ground with this, and again, it looks to me like the circulation is a little less tight than it was earlier, and it was pretty significant about a half hour ago way down here as it moved in. But still some circulation, just not maybe as dramatic as it was earlier. But that would be just east of Donovan now on 160. And again, we just had a brand new tornado warning, or the tornado warning has been extended into eastern Ripley County and also Butler County.
And Stoddard, yeah, southwestern Stoddard
And
County.
even parts of Stoddard County. So they're going to stay with a tornado warning for now. And I don't see any debris under the circulation. That's a good sign. So let's go back to a larger view. Okay, now there's so the tornado warning is for that cell, but it's been extended into southeastern Ripley County and into southern Butler County, and as you said, the corner there of Stoddard County, and it was moving to the east. Maybe I should do a little line or a cell track on that just to see. It's moving to the east, and we can warn some of the towns downstream.
Does it go Poplar Bluff, Naylor, Neelyville? That looks like where it's heading towards, especially with the way it's tracking.
I meant to do that, and I kind of forgot about it.
So if you're in any of those areas.
Stop. I got a little too close. That looks pretty good, right? So let's do a cell track.
Oh, we just got another severe, I think, tornado warning.
Yeah, it's up to the north of there, right? Yeah. So, okay, a couple of towns, same. Yeah, we've got a new tornado warning, but let me do this real quick here. Yeah, Angus, Poplar Bluff, Ash Hill, Dudley, Dexter in the path of this possible tornado east of Doniphan, moving to the east. So let's talk about that other tornado warning that was just issued. Try to get that off there. And it's for a cell in Wayne County, and they must be seeing some circulation there too. And it looks like that tornado warning's for, as you said, Wayne County, southwestern Bollinger County,
and southwestern Stoddard.
And yeah, the northwestern part.
Northwestern, yes, sorry.
And we'll zoom in on that and see why they've issued that. That's always like, with a new one, you're like, wow, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and see. You want to go ahead and, while I zoom in, you go ahead and read what they're saying about it?
Absolutely. So this will remain in effect till 7:15 for today. Now we are seeing this located near Lake Wapapello State Park, moving east at 45 miles per hour. This has been radar indicated.
Oh, there you go. And so that's, yeah, you can see obviously why they've issued that. Pretty significant circulation there. Go ahead, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, you're fine. But with it being near Lake Wapapello, people are out camping for this Memorial Day weekend. So if you have anybody that you know is out in this area that might be camping, you might want to warn them, just check in, make sure that they are staying safe and taking shelter.
Yeah, it's a very good point, not just for Wapapello, but for the entire region. A big holiday weekend. A lot of folks traditionally go out for like maybe the last camping weekend of the year because the weather is still pretty nice usually, so there may be a lot of folks out away from like cell towers and stuff, so maybe just give them a call if they can get just a regular call. But yeah, this is very close to Lake Wapapello, Wapapello State Park, south of Greenville, south of Piedmont, or southeast of Piedmont. There's Piedmont and Wayne County, if you know where that is. So I can see that, why they've, let me go back to reflectivity here. Again, it's out in the kind of in no man's land radar-wise for us, but we're actually seeing the circulation, which is a good thing. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Let it go. There you go. So, yeah, obviously, again, not super tight, but pretty significant circulation there, showing up from the Paducah radar near Wapapello, Lake Wapapello right now. And that's why we have a brand new tornado warning for parts of Wayne County and also Bollinger County and just the northwestern part of Stoddard County as that moves to the east. Let me go back, maybe, did they
Even
give
for Dunklin, there's one, if you look a little bit south, Dunklin County, let's see, northeastern Dunklin County, got clipped into another tornado warning down south as well.
Let me do a quick track on this. Looks like it's moving just north of east, and then we'll pop down to the boot heel. So that tornado was about, well, that's moved a little bit. Looks like if there is something on the ground, it's about right in here. I'm a little too close. What will this? Let's see if that worked. No, it didn't work. I got a little too close to it. But it's moving to the east-northeast, should get into southern Bollinger County, northwestern Stoddard County. There's advance in, it's Stoddard County. Yeah, that tornado warning in effect until, I think we said, 7:15, something like that. But let's go ahead and go look at that other tornado. Okay, yeah, and this is a significant cell we've been tracking all night, moving along the northern, just along the Missouri-Arkansas state line. And that's moving east into Clay County. So we've got, 3 different tornado warnings now, right? So. There we go. And we'll zoom in on that one. I'm trying to be more careful with my zooming now because I got a little too close last time.
In the midst of all of the stronger systems, there's also a flood advisory for Carter and Ripley with these heavier systems passing through as well.
Yeah, some of our models giving us several inches of rain today. Hopefully it won't be that bad, but man, it looks like all these waves of rain we're expecting today, waves of thunderstorms could be really, that could be a problem as well, flooding. So, yeah, so we've got this new tornado warning for parts of Clay County, Arkansas, into just the corner there of Dunklin County, between Kennett and Malden officially. Piggott, Arkansas, I know we have some viewers in Piggott, but let me go ahead and see if we can see any circulation. I'm sure this would be on the, it's kind of a loose circulation right on the purple haze zone, but it looks like it's out there toward the county line. So again, a tornado warning now that includes Clay County and also just a small part of Dunklin County, Missouri. But let me go back and check in on our other tornadoes. We originally came on the air for a tornado warning for Ripley County, and that cell is right, I think right on probably the Ripley County, Butler County line now, moving to the east, and they extended that. In fact, let me see if I can, let me try something here. Zoom in a little looser, and then see if we can see both circulations at once, right? Let me try that.
And just a reminder, as Brian continues to track these systems as they move through, especially if the chance of a tornado coming through your area, make sure that you are taking that shelter in an interior room. Try to find the lowest floor or that lowest level. Make sure that you are avoiding windows and just staying safe, but also, most importantly, staying aware of what is coming and what is a possibility.
I'm trying to... There we go. So that circulation looks like it's in Butler County now, and it looks a little weaker, but anyway, that's getting awfully close to, I'm trying to decide what to do here. Why don't we zoom in, see if we can see where it is. And I'm a little too close, in fact. I don't want to go back to Paducah radar because we couldn't really see it on Paducah radar. Yeah, okay, so if there's a circulation, it looks to be pretty weak, and it's right in here. And so it's between Neelyville and Poplar Bluff, very close to 158, but again, that looks to be a much larger, weaker circulation than what we saw a little while ago. But it's moving to the east-northeast, and there is officially a...
Reports of trees down on U Highway south of US 142 south of Donovan. So. Okay,
yeah, that we were there about a half an hour ago as that warning was just issued, and I think that's out in here. So yeah,
so these ones, it's strong. Like once again, we just want to make sure and reiterate that as the system pushes through.
So that could have been from a tornado, or it could have been from just straight line winds, but. So here's the new tornado warning for parts of, it was issued for a cell very close to Lake Wapapillo, moving northeast. This one, again, looks to be kind of lining out this whole system, but we're seeing these little spin-ups along it. So I want to zoom back into that and see if that looks any different. And again, we're on the air because we do have tornado warnings currently in effect, and our policy is when there's a tornado warning, we will stay on the air with you and keep you safe. And yeah, it looks like there's obviously in the reflectivity a bit of a rotation there. Let's see. Yep, it's still there. It's pretty significant looking too. Pretty strong circulation just over the northeastern part of Lake Wapapillo. And this is moving to the east-northeast toward Bollinger County. There's Advance in Stoddard County. There's Puxico. So again, if I lived in Advance or even Puxico, I would be aware that there may be a tornado on the ground right now near Lake Wapapillo, moving to the northeast. So think about heading to your safe spot. And let's go back to reflectivity.
And that's moving about 45 miles per hour.
45 miles an hour.
So it's pretty good speed.
I found out last time I was too far east, but we'll do a little line track with this. There we go. So, hey, we got Advance, Bell City, Cliff, Oran, even in the path of this cell eventually, if it does hold together, and it keeps moving to the northeast. So again, that's a tornado warning in effect, and it looks like we may have a tornado on the ground right now, pretty close to Lake Wapapello, moving to the northeast. And we still haven't had any ground truth reports of a tornado, either with this cell or the one that prompted the warnings around Ripley County, around Donovan, although Megan said they did now report some trees down. That's always, yeah, trees down. That's interesting. Are we talking one tree, or are we talking a whole mile or two of trees? So there may have been a tornado on the ground south of Donovan. That was along 142, I think she said. But let's go back here. And so we've got 3 different tornado warnings of impacting parts of the Heartland right now. One for Clay County into Dunklin County for one cell, which is this cell moving to the east. And this cell moving through Butler County, moving east right now. And there's a warning for that. Looks like it's just on the edge of Poplar Bluff, and also south of Poplar Bluff, and also for this cell. And it looks like we may have a tornado on the ground right now, very close to Lake Wapapello. So that's what we got right now. And Megan's over here kind of monitoring the Weather Service chat to see if anything new pops up.
Well, we just talked about a little bit earlier about trees being, reports of trees being down, but now they're making reports of possible power lines down in Ripley County. I'm not sure exactly where in Ripley County, like I said, that just popped up into the chat. But with these systems pushing through, this is, for this morning, this is going to be our first line of strong storms. This isn't just,
that's a good point.
You know, we have more coming in later today as well.
Unfortunately, that's right. It looks like we may have 2 or 3 rounds of severe weather today, and this could be just the first one. So it's going to be a long day for us, and we're going to be staffed here all day tracking these storms. But yeah, so this is the system we're tracking right now. Got a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings, which are hard to see in the yellow. And then we have, well, there's, yeah, even in Arkansas, I got some severe thunderstorm warnings. And then in the red, a little easier to see, tornado warnings for parts of Bollinger, northwestern Stoddard, Wayne County near Wapapello. That's where a tornado may be on the ground right now. We also have a tornado warning for much of Butler County into Stoddard County as well. And then this third cell on the southern end of this for Clay County into Dunklin County.
So there's no reports of damage in Butler County at this time either, so we're going to continue to monitor that.
Yeah, sometimes. See if there's. A little bit. There's obviously a little bit of circulation there, so we're picking this up off Paducah. So red is away, blue is toward. That's how I remember this. Doppler shift, right? That's why it's called Doppler radar. So very close to Poplar Bluff right now. If you're in the Poplar Bluff area, there may be a tornado on the ground in your area right now. So get to your safe spot. This is a tornado warning for Butler County, including the Poplar Bluff area. It's a loose circulation, a little disorganized, not as dramatic as it was a while ago in Ripley County, but still it's significant. And you can see that there's still, that storm is still definitely rotating. So tornado warning for Butler County, including the Poplar Bluff region right now. And that cell is moving toward the east, right? And Megan's been talking about the details coming in from the Weather Service. Still no official reports of anything on the ground. However, if it's raining enough, it may be very hard to see these, so they may be rain wrapped. But
getting reports of some trees down near Current River.
Okay.
We've seen some getting reports.
In Ripley County?
Yep.
Yeah, trees down. I'm starting to think that we did have a tornado on the ground with this cell a little earlier in Ripley County. It looks like it may have weakened a little bit, but we still have that tornado warning in effect for Poplar Bluff and for Butler County right now. Let me go do a quick, no, I'm not seeing any debris, thankfully, but go back to a loop here and give you the bigger picture in case you're just tuning in from maybe Illinois or Kentucky. Some pretty strong cells now developing east of the Mississippi and southern Illinois, nothing severe, no warnings, and also in western Kentucky, but you can tell they aren't particularly strong or severe, just rain and lightning, I'm sure. But here are the 3 tornado warnings that we're currently on the air with, and we're about to time out of the breakfast show, but we'll just stay with it, obviously, as long as we have the tornado warnings on, or the tornado warnings in effect. So 3 tornado warnings right now for 3 different cells. One where a tornado looks to be on the ground very close to Lake Wapapello, currently moving northeast toward Bollinger County. And you can see that tornado warning impacts southwestern Bollinger County. And also for Butler County and Stoddard County, a second cell, although that one looks like it may be weakening, and then a third strong cell down into Clay County, Arkansas, moving to the east toward Dunklin County. So 3 different tornado warnings right now.
So near Carter County for Ozark Border Electric, power, they're getting reports of about 1,400 customers with power outages.
In Carter County?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the heart of that cell didn't even move really over Carter County, so that may have been just wind. You never know. Could have been a tornado on the ground too there. Sometimes the small ones, you don't even see them if they're that far away from the radar. But yeah, Carter County getting reports of damage now. Did we have a tornado warning for Carter County briefly? Or I think it was just a severe thunderstorm warning that we had. That was our first warning, that's right.
Yeah, but I mean, that just goes back to show how strong these storms are, producing how damaging these winds can be. So that's just another thing that we want to reiterate to the viewers, that as the system pushes through, if it's heading into your area, to make sure that you are staying safe and staying aware of these systems.
Yeah, this is going to be an all-day event, I'm afraid, with 2 or 3 rounds of active weather. So let's zoom back into the Wapapello storm. And so we saw a circulation earlier right in here. Looks like that has shifted a little farther east. Each time we zoom in, of course, we get an updated scan. These storms are moving pretty quickly as well. So we'll go to the velocity. Looks like there's something right in here. The scope has been working pretty well this morning.
If you, for today, with this active weather day being a first alert action day, with you being in the Heartland, if you're even seeing anything, you're seeing any reports, you can definitely take some pictures, upload those pictures onto our weather app so that we can stay connected with you as well, so we can be aware of what's going on.
Social media is a big deal these days. We get a lot of reports of damage and a lot of pictures. Of course, stay safe. Make sure you're safe first before you rush out to take pictures. But yeah, once the storm has passed, especially if you get some damage pictures, we'd love to have those. So how do you upload through our weather app, right? You can do that.
Yep.
Okay.
And make sure that you give, you put your information, your name, so that we can give you credit and make sure you have where this was taken, so that we can kind of pass that information along to
because we got like 50
else.
counties, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we get pictures we don't know where they're from. But yeah, it looks like we have a broad circulation right here.